और चौथी तिमाही के नतीजे अगर आप देखें, मुनाफे में 3 गुना की बढ़त देखने को मिली और EBITDA में 70% का इजाफा। मार्जिन बट ऑफ कोर्स बड़े हैं, 47% के मार्जिन 77.5% पर आए और रेवेन्यू में भी करीब करीब 3% तक की ग्रोथ देखने को मिली। अब क्या ड्राइव कर रहा है इन नंबर्स को और यहाँ से आगे किस तरह की सिचुएशन रहेगी, उसकी बात कर लेते हैं। हमारे साथ HOEC के MD पehla जुड़ रहे हैं। मिस्टर लांगो, स्वागत है आपका CNBC आवाज पर। पहले तो मैं आपसे एक व्यू कच्चे तेल पर लेना चाहूंगी। ये जो लेटेस्ट करेक्शन फिर देखने को मिला था एंड दिस सब $75 मूव, क्या ये लास्ट करता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है? बिकॉज यू आर अ वेटरन ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री, यू ऑब्वियसली ट्रैक की किस तरह के लेवल्स देखने को मिल रहे हैं, क्या हो रहा है? हाउ डू यू रीड दिस करंट करेक्शन?
I think the most likely the crude oil will settle in the range of around $80 is what we are expecting in the industry. I think on the one hand, there's news about Chinese economy. The other hand is the overall global economics indicators. So I think around $80 works well for both the producers and the buyers. So that's what we're expecting.
Okay. Now coming to how you have performed, how your company has performed, sir. Q4 बहुत ही मजबूत क्वार्टर रहा and we see it in margins, the profitability, the revenue growth, etc. आपके 80% volumes of course गैस बिजनेस से आते हैं, फिर बाकी ऑयल बिजनेस से। ये जो Q-on-Q इम्प्रूवमेंट है, अगर आप हमें बता सके ये रियलाइजेशन गैस सेगमेंट में कितना बेहतर हुआ है और ऑयल सेगमेंट में कितना बेहतर हुआ है Q4 के लिए?
Q4 के लिए, roughly about 55% of our revenue came from BAT fee, which delivered from both the wells for the full quarter. So that's the kind of indication that with BAT coming on board, our gas oil ratio will shift slightly more towards oil. From 80-20, it would go to about 70-30. Gas will continue to be our main source of revenue, but our exposure to oil is increasing because of the production from BAT has commenced, and that is contributing to the oil story as well. But very importantly, BAT is the first discovered small field in offshore, which has been brought on production under the new policy of the government. So the Q4 is a kind of an indication that going forward we'll be delivering that sort of numbers quarter after quarter. Obviously, the overall revenue is subject to always the movement of both oil and gas prices. Interestingly, the gas prices also is showing an increasing trend, particularly after the government announced the e-auction policy. For example, last year we realized close to $15 per MMBTU from BAT gas, and at Assam, revenue was the current realized price is about $8 to $9 per MMBTU. So overall, the gas price is also showing upward trend within India. Obviously, the global economy will determine the oil prices.
सर, दिस कैप ऑन गैस प्राइसेस, उसका इम्पैक्ट आपके बिजनेस पर भी आता है क्या? जो APM गैस प्राइसेस में कैप लगा है $6.5 प्रति MMBTU का?
Thankfully, that is only applicable to Oil India and ONGC. We are all exempted from that cap.
Okay, so that's good to hear. Now, going forward, the realization that you mentioned and the way the business is growing, ये कितना follow through या कितना sustainable है FY24 के लिए, given the current volatility again?
So as I said, we look at the long-term oil prices to be in the range of about $80. But obviously, our cost of our business model is to really focus on low-cost, fast-track model. So our operating costs are significantly lower, and we can comfortably operate at any level of oil prices, which is above $40 price is good enough for us to operate and make some margin. Gas prices, as I said, across the country post the auction is most likely to be in the 2-digit level, which is definitely around $10 to $12 per MMBTU. Looks like a more stable numbers to look for. Therefore, this year, Q4 is an indication. The forward quarters will be similar to it or slightly better than that as we focus on increasing the gas, the oil production slightly more.
मैं आपसे ये समझना चाहूंगी, what are your plans to increase capacity? Do you have scope for it to begin with, and any particular investment that you would be taking towards that capacity expansion, if at all?
Yes. Starting with Dirok, which is a gas field in Assam, we have a capacity to, our current volume is about 30 million cubic feet per day, which has the capacity to increase it by almost 50%. So we can easily take the production from 30 million cubic feet to 50 million cubic feet per day. This is curtailed only because lower offtake in Northeast region, which we believe will substantially improve once the North gas grid is laid by GAIL and other related entity. So the Northeast gas grid is being implemented on a fast track basis. We expect in about 12 to 18 months time that gas grid initial phase will be completed. That will allow us to take the gas to Guwahati. That should help us to increase the volume without much capex by about 50%. That is in Dirok. In PY1, which is a field in which we have a 100% stake, we have recently secured a PSC extension for the 10-year PSC extension, and we are doing the technical work to commence a drilling campaign most likely in the first quarter of next year. And that being 100% owned by HOEC, expect to add again volume to our gas volumes as such. Similarly, on onshore, we have a field called Karsang in Arunachal Pradesh, where we hold directly and indirectly 30%. And there also the government has recently approved the field development plan, and the PSC is under extension. Once we have the extension, we plan to drill along with the JV partners about 18 wells to take the current oil production of about 400 to 500 barrels to about 1,800 barrels. So we have plans to increase the capacity in all our field, including BAT. So we are looking at a sustained growth on the production numbers. If you look at our past track record, about eight years back, our total operated production was 500 barrels. Today we have crossed 10,000 barrels of oil equivalent. So HOEC is one of the, I must say, only one company which has consistently demonstrated production growth, and we expect to repeat the track record over the coming 2 to 3 years too.
मिस्टर लांगो, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे लिए समय निकालकर ये हाइलाइट्स शेयर करने के लिए, एंड ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट फॉर FY24 सर। चलिए, वक्त हो रहा है एक ब्रेक का। HOEC ऑफ कोर्स नतीजे बहुत ही शानदार रहे थे और उसके बाद स्टॉक में भी अच्छी तेजी बनती दिखाई दी थी। $80 का